Before we start the show, just a word from our sponsor, Undeniable Press. For all your screen printing needs, located in the Corktown district of Detroit, Michigan. If you ever need any t-shirts or any other little promo accessories, posters, or whatnot printed up for you, go to Undeniable Press. They're located, once again, in the Corktown district of Detroit, Michigan, and you can reach them at facebook.com/undeniablepressdetroit. And those same guys who do Undeniable Press also have a clothing line called 20 by 20 Apparel. It's very much wrestling themed, all sorts of nostalgic themes in regards to the history of wrestling. And you can go check out their clothing line at 20x20apparel.com. That's the number 20x, the number 20apparel.com. Now let's start the show.
Fresh is the word.
I'm Jim Duggan, got long wood for plenty hoes. I keep it fresher than fresh, but you already know. You suckers bummy, I'm money, I got a ton of flows. My weed loud like a motherfucking thunder roll. Your shit quiet like you ballin' on a budget though. We see your kicks and we laugh and yellin' what are those. You see me shining like a suit on puffy. You know my grindin' shit is too strong, buddy. That's why the dude call money. I be stuntin' like it's nothing at all. Cause it's nothing to me, it's probably something to y'all. Trying to smoke like me, then come and fuck with your dog. Got a closet full of kicks, you can't cop it them all. And I'm fresher than the freshest, you can tell it's in my essence. Bitch, you see the way I'm rapping, yes I do this shit to death. Until I'm running out of breath, or tell somebody cut a check. But either way you know it's fresh, and either way you know it's fresh. Fresh, we fresh. Fresh, 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 goddammit, we fresh.
Welcome to the Fresh is the Word podcast, the podcast about music, pro wrestling, and MMA. I am your host, K Fresh. Like always, we have a great show for you this week. But before we get into it, just like to remind you how you can support the podcast. You can always go to freshasthepodcast.com and just click on any links on the website and share them on any of your social media sites. That would be great. There's also a link at the top of the page that says support the podcast, where there's a PayPal link you can donate to. There's also a Amazon link on that page that you can use anytime you want to make any purchases on Amazon, and they'll shoot back some commission our way. Doesn't change anything on your end. Also, you can follow Fresh is the Word on Twitter and Instagram at Fresh is the Word 1. That's Fresh is the Word, then the number 1. And on Facebook at facebook.com/Fresh is the Podcast. Just give it a like, and you can leave some comments on our Facebook page if you'd like. And also, if you want to subscribe to Fresh is the Word, we're on all sorts of different platforms. Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, Mixcloud, SoundCloud. Just go to any of those and put in Fresh is the Word, and it'll come up. You can subscribe to it. You can also give us a rating, hopefully 5 stars, and leave a comment. That would definitely help out the show. Now, onto the show. This week's guest is guitarist from the Florida-based rock group New Found Glory, Chad Gilbert. Chad's a big MMA fan, so we talked a lot about, a lot of the stuff that he likes. He likes a lot of the old school stuff, so we got into that. Then we also talked about the band's history, coming out of Florida, all the sort of struggles with doing that, which were also kind of pluses in his book. And they're currently on a 20 years of pop punk tour. So we just kind of get down to, the history of the band and what made them so relevant, and, how they're able to stick around after, after 20 years in the game. So, and then afterwards, I'll be joined with my co-host, Vstylez, to talk about what was going on in the world of MMA and pro wrestling. And then we also talk about something sad that's happened in the world of hip-hop, the passing of Prodigy from the rap group Mobb Deep. That one really hit hard. So we talk for a while about the music and the life of Prodigy. So let's get to the show with my interview with Chad Gilbert of New Found Glory. Thanks for taking the time out to chat with me.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for wanting to chat with me.
Great. Yeah, I hear that you're a big MMA fan.
Yes, I am actually. I love that stuff.
Cool. Yeah, before we get into the MMA stuff, I definitely wanted to talk about some music stuff on regards to new album and whatnot. Right now, it's been it's been 20 years that Newfound Glory has been around, and you guys are doing the 20 years of pop punk tour. When you look back at those early years of starting the band, what really pops out? Because I know you were doing the Shai Hulud band back then, and I remember that band. I remember hearing about that band at that time. But what really sticks out those early years of starting the band?
What sticks out? I think a big thing that set us apart from that I would say that at the time seemed like a disadvantage, but actually worked to our advantage, is that we grew up in this little suburb in Florida, in South Florida, called Coral Springs. And if you're a band from South Florida, like if you leave the state on tour, like just leave your own state, it's a huge deal. You're like, in Coral Springs, it takes 12 hours just to get to another state.
Right.
Where like you're a band in the Northeast or a band in California, you can drive. There's all these different scenes built around you. We're like our scene and then 12 hours to get to another one. So right. I think what we did was we weren't really affected by, anything else in the sense that, the internet didn't exist. There was no social media. There was no websites, and AIM didn't really start yet, and it's like, so we just, we were able to sort of figure things out on our own. We all were in high school. We knew we liked West Coast punk, but we also liked New York hardcore, and we also liked all these things. So without being affected by what anyone else thought, because there wasn't anyone else, we were able to really sort of make our own sort of version of our, write our own style, which eventually became what it did. So I really think that the difference with us was just sort of being in a place where, you had to sort of figure it out,
Right.
So by the time we had sort of this work ethic, and I don't want to say work ethic, but I'd say we had this drive that I think a lot of bands didn't have built in yet, because, like I said, it took a lot of work to get your name out just in your hometown.
Yeah.
So I think by the time we did our first tour, we were like, this is amazing. There's actually, I remember one of our first shows in New Jersey was bigger than our biggest shows in Florida, because the scene there was so small, but the scene in New Jersey was so big.
Yeah.
So like, once we got out of Florida, we were like, it was such like, icing on the cake. We were already like, we did it, as opposed to like, we're getting started. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know if that, so I think that was a big part of, I just remember, just like the first time we left Florida and it just being like such a big deal. And even everyone else, we're like, now it's not a big deal because you can communicate more with people in other scenes and other states and things. So back then you didn't really know what was out there. It's like,
right.
You know what I mean? It's like driving in this no man's land. You just had your like huge map on your dashboard, and you're like, I think I could figure out how to get there through these. Be like, crazy.
Right. And when you look back, arguably you guys, Newfound Glory and like Blink 182, laid the blueprint for this pop punk style that's still around today. How do you feel about that? How does it feel to be a part of something that was so influential?
It's really cool, man. I think it's really interesting. It's funny too about getting lumped in, now with the Blink stuff, because when we first started, we weren't.
Right.
We weren't that, like Blink was like a really big punk band, and the only bands we toured with were, back then it was Newfound Glory, the Get Up Kids, Saves the Day, Piebald. That was like our world, like we didn't really play with punk bands. And I remember the first time we played with like punk bands, we were more in the post-hardcore world, it would be
right.
Like we played with Bane, Get Up Kids. And I remember when we first started playing punk shows, I remember we toured with Real Big Fish, and I remember the fans not getting it and like throwing change at us and throwing stuff at us. And I think the first punk tour we ever did was Less Than Jake.
Yeah.
And, we opened for Less Than Jake, and it was Newfound Glory, The Impossibles, and Less Than Jake. And I remember we like, it was cool because we knew that like that was the scene that would probably like us the most. But the cool thing about Newfound at the time is we just sort of had, at such a young age, we sort of never really fit anywhere back then. You know, like we were a little bit too punk for like the Get Up Kids shows, but then we were a little bit too like emotional, hardcore, indie thing for like the punk shows, you know?
Right.
Which was so cool for us because we'd be able to play Less Than Jake and steal some fans that were like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
Never heard of this before. And then we were able to tour Ghetto Kids and be like, I like this. I never really, you know. So it was awesome being able to really sort of stand out, you know, in a different way, and sort of not really fit in anywhere. And because of that, we were really able to build like a loyal fan base. And, you know, it's really cool being considered, you know, like you said, with Blink being considered an influential band because, to be honest, that was it. You know, that was the goal was we never, you know, and people will say, like, oh, whatever, you had to, like, worry about money and stuff or, like, want to be successful so you could. But to be honest with you, that was such a long shot, you never even considered it. Like I said, like, growing up in South Florida,
yeah,
you were going on tour just to, like, leave the state and have something to do. You weren't going on tour because you thought one day you would make money. Like that was like I said, leaving the state was such a long shot, let alone getting paid to play was like crazy. So because I think the foundation of our band never was making money, when we hear that sort of like our career has led people to start their own careers or, you know, influence a lot of people, it's awesome. Like that's the biggest, for us, that's like the biggest sign of success, you know, because as you know, in life, like no matter how much money you make or how much no money you make or, you know, how little or a lot, whatever you do, there's always a problem. So it doesn't really matter.
Right.
What matters is like, I think like, you know, how you can impact the people around you positively. And we've been able to do that. So that's very, you feel very successful, you know, in that sense.
Right. Newfound Glory was always sort of, you know, like you were saying, you guys never really fit in completely with any sort of, you know, other bands or scene or circuit or whatever. But you guys were always sort of that, like, under the radar big band that really had a solid fan base. You know, does it amaze you that your fans stuck with it all these years and have grown with you guys?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I thought we would lose them all when we started getting played on TRL. You know, like I have a TRL retired plaque where TRL played us 47 weeks in a row or 46 weeks or something crazy, you know, like,
right.
And we were on the countdown for that long, you know, and, you know, being up there with Britney Spears and playing these like New Year's shows in Vegas and being on Fox. And, you know, I was like, we're going to ride this out and it's fun. But, you know, I remember being a 15-year-old kid that, you know, hated anything successful. I was like, yeah, I'm sure these people are going to leave at some point because it's like oversaturation, all that stuff. And it never happened, you know, for us. You know, I'm sure we've lost some along the way, but they've all eventually come back because we will keep doing what we're doing. You know, whether we're playing, whether no one shows up or 5,000 people show up, you know, whether it's a 20-year tour or a normal tour, like we'll be there playing, you know, because that's what we love. We live to write songs. We live to play shows. It's such a fun thing for us to do, you know, self-expression, and it's our career. You know, we're not gonna give up our career just because someone else might not like it anymore. So, but yeah, to answer your question, it's insane that they stuck around because most people don't have fans that stick around, especially with this success we had in the early 2000s. You know,
right?
And they have, and it's still growing. You know, it's crazy the amount of people that have seen us. We're on the 20-year tour, and a lot of people, it's their first time seeing us, you know?
Yeah.
Which is awesome. It's crazy.
How old were you guys when you started this band?
Let's see. We started in 97. I was born 81. So what was I? I was 16.
Oh my.
Yeah, I didn't graduate high school. I was we got signed to Drive Through Records when I was a sophomore in high school, and then we got picked up by MCA when I was supposed to be a senior, and it was the summer of my junior year of high school, and we had a bunch of tours, like big tours being offered to us and the label and blah blah blah, and all that stuff that went on with getting signed. And the tour that we got offered to do was going to extend into next year's school year. So I had to pretty much make the decision there if I'm going to, the band has to tour,
Yeah.
And I just left. I talked to my mom about it, and she talked to my counselor in school and the whole thing, and they let me leave. So I still don't have my GED, but I swore to my mom I would get it. So at some point I got to find some internet classes and find out because I only needed like literally 4 credits.
Right. Yeah. I think you can do that
But,
online these days. Yeah. You should be able to just do that online.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Okay, you guys are 20 years in the game now with this band. What was the mood of the band going into the recording of this new album, Makes Me Sick, when trying to figure out what you wanted to do with it?
The mood of the band, was awesome. It's just, you're going into a studio, 9 albums in, and you sort of feel unstoppable, and that doesn't mean like cocky. It just means like, hey, we have the kind of fans that stuck by us. We have a 20-year tour coming up where we're playing 6 albums. And we've also felt, we felt fans not liking records before, like there's always people that will like an album, but sometimes more people don't like it than do like it. Like I remember when our Coming Home album came out, people didn't understand it and didn't love it, but then years later, now our fans say it's their favorite record. So I think sort of going through everything, we really had our priorities in place and creativity in place, and it wasn't about, hey, we're worried that our fans aren't going to like us. It was more like our fans are awesome, and at this point we know they want new, they want something different. They don't want to listen to the same albums over and over again. So going to Makes Me Sick, that really set us up to write songs that we weren't really worried about fitting any genre, just like in the beginning, like I told you. It wasn't about fitting a genre. It was about, writing music that felt right to play.
Right.
And I think that's why it came out, the way it did. When we wrote track 5 on the album, which is called The Sound of Two Voices, that has like we've never had a song like that before. It has a sort of almost Caribbean Call Me Al, like,
right.
Paul Simon beat vibe to it. And it felt like Newfound Glory. The lyrics and the emotion we put behind it, it was still felt like a Newfound Glory song, believe it or not. And that could be a song that maybe in the past we'd be like, no, let's not record it because it's not punk enough or it's not this enough. But like I said, when you're coming off of, when you're about to be on a tour for 20 years, you don't really worry about that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
You're just like, we're going to make a record, we're going to put our heart and soul into it, and that should be what attracts people to it, not whether it's a fast song or a slow song, just the heart that's in it,
Right. Yeah, for this record, Aaron Sprinkle produced the new record. What did he bring to the table, and what did he do to bring the best out of you guys?
Oh man, Aaron was awesome. I think Aaron had what we lacked the most, and that's why it was the best combination, and that is making what's in our brains come to life. In the sense that, in sonically and sounds wise, like the sound wise, like there was. Like the song Call Me Antisocial, we had this sort of Cars sort of guitar riff and song, but we really were like, okay, you know, plain and simple, it just sounds like every old song, but how do we come up with these layers of it to really make it feel like the Cars meets Cyndi Lauper meets New Found Glory? Like, what's like the cool element vibe? And I had this piano line, the keyboard line, but I don't know how to get that sound. But he's had so much experience and he was perfect for us because he had so much experience in recording records back in the day before Pro Tools, you know, so he knows how to get a good guitar tone. But he also is like, if you've heard his solo album, Aaron Sprinkle Real Life, you'll hear all of, you know, the sounds and, you know, keyboard. He's so familiar with loops and keyboard sounds and you know, programming and all these different things. So when I said to him, hey, I want the keyboard sound from this Cyndi Lauper song, he's like, oh, that's a blah, 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 blah. And he immediately pulled it up and could play it and knew it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he just was like this encyclopedia of production knowledge where we're like, we can bring the songs, we can bring the melodies, we can bring the music, we can bring everything, but how do we present it, what's in our head? Because you can hear something one way in your head, but you might not be able to produce that. So he was able to do that. He was just this encyclopedia of like guitar tones and keyboard sounds. And so like, I literally could be like there's this song on the record called Say It Don't Spray It. And on the surface, it could have just sounded like every old Newfound song, any old Newfound song. But I was like, hey, I really want this melody I have in my head to almost have the tone from like the Bananarama Cruel Summer song. So I sang it to him, you know, I was like, and he's like, yeah, they use this. And so he was able to pull it up and we were, you know what I mean? He was just like that fast. Like he could have the tone, play what I was singing within 5 minutes, where it would have taken us like 2 hours to find the keyboard sound before, you know?
Right. That's awesome. Oh yeah, like what like what I mentioned at the top of the interview. I also heard that you're a big MMA fan. Have you been paying attention to what's going on these days in the UFC?
Oh yeah, always. Yeah, I always do. I love it.
Are you just a UFC fan, or do you check out the other companies?
I check out everything. What kind of started, and not to try to like not trying to humble brag or whatever, like be cooler or whatever, but I kind of discovered UFC. It was weird, like, so UFC was just a VHS you would rent when you were home school from, you know, you were sick home from school back in the day. So
yeah,
I used to rent those VHSs when I was a little kid because they were in like the horror section, like in my VHS store. But then fell out of it. My friend Dave Mandel, who ended up taking photos for UFC, years ago, I'd say in 2004, he used to stream all the Pride fighting championships from Japan.
Okay.
So we would go to his house and watch Pride. At the time, I didn't watch UFC. I didn't like it because I loved Pride and all the characters they had, like Fedor, Vanderlei Silva, Krokop, even some of the older guys like Semi Schulp and, you know, like, you know, just all the old sort of characters they had there, the larger-than-life characters, Ricardo Arona, and you know, when Shogun when he was a kid. So I watched all that, and then when UFC, sorry, it's really loud. Guys walking by with like a thing full of tables. So when UFC signed Rampage, that made me want to watch, you know, Rampage fight. And then New Found Glory played a radio show in Boston. And this is when Vanderlei was still in Japan. New Found Glory played a radio show in Boston, and it was when UFC was trying to promote the first season of The Ultimate Fighter. And Dana White and Chuck Liddell introduced our band. The radio station happened to be like, watch UFC, and next up, New Found Glory.
Yeah.
So Chuck Liddell and Dana were at a signing out in the parking lot, and no one was in line. They were just starting out. And I went out there to talk to them, and I was like, hey, I'm a big fan of MMA. And I said to them, I was like, what's a fight? Like, Chuck, who do you always want to fight? And he's like, I want to fight Vanderlei Silva. I was like, that would be awesome. That's like one of my favorite fighters. And so once they brought Vanderlei over to the UFC and made that fight happen, that was it. You know, Pride sort of, you know, UFC bought Pride, and Pride sort of went downhill, and UFC had all my favorite guys. So
Right.
I would say that's when I really transitioned over to just watching UFC.
Right. Who are some of your fighters that, you know, maybe today that are active today, whether it's UFC, Bellator, or what other company?
What other companies?
I mean, like what yeah,
classic guys. What's that?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, what other companies do you check out? Bellator, or do you check out anything overseas? You know, who are some of your favorites? Is there any favorite fighters?
I mean, I check out Bellator only when the old school guys fight on it. I still only, you know, I'll watch Bellator stuff, but I really kind of just stick with UFC, you know, unless there's like some of the old UFC guys. Like, I'm obviously going to watch Fedor versus Mitrione and Vanderlei versus Sonnen when that goes on Bellator. But overall, I just sort of stick with the UFC stuff. UFC has so many events now going on that
Right.
you kind of have to really pay attention.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm loyal to my old school dudes. You know, like, I love Shogun, I love Anderson. You know, as far as a newer guy, I love Stipe. I think he's an awesome champion. And this is coming from someone who loves Junior Dos Santos, who he just beat. But I think Stipe is such a cool champion. He's such like a real dude. You know, humble and just a great fighter. Who else do I love? I'm missing Machida. I wish Machida would come back. He's one of my favorites.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all
okay.
good.
Yeah. So.
But no, cool. Are you? I know you just got a couple minutes left. But yeah, the Bellator, big Bellator New York card's coming up, like you mentioned. You know, who do you got between you know, Mitrione and Fedor, and then also Sonnen and Silva?
It's so interesting. I don't know, because I want Silva to win and I want Fedor to win, but like Fedor's chin hasn't looked amazing, and Mitrione's still a younger, healthier guy.
Yeah,
who's strong. So I mean, I've seen Mitrione knock out some dudes with a punch. And you know, I really think Vanderlei, if he could keep it on his feet, will destroy him. Chael, but I think Chael is going to, you know, wrestle him and do ground and pound. So I really want Vanderlei and Fedor, but I just have this feeling that Chael and Mitrione are going to win, unfortunately, even though I don't want them to win.
Great.
That's my thing, is I hate, like, I know a lot about it, and I've watched these guys that I know that sometimes even the guys that I really, really want to win, I'm realistic about game plans, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, like, I know Chael's game plan isn't going to be to try to throw blows with Vanderlei, you know?
Right. Definitely. Yeah.
And I saw what he did to Shogun, and Shogun fights very similar to Vanderlei. And, you know, Chael took Shogun down and you know, beat him in the first round because he took him to the ground and beat him up and then tapped him, you know? So.
Definitely. All right, man. It's been good talking with you. If you know, thanks for taking the time out to chat with me. You know, if anybody wants to find out more information about Newfound Glory, you know, where should they look online?
Just the website. You know, newfoundglory.com. That's where everything. Or follow us on Instagram and Twitter and stuff. But that's it.
Cool, man. Yeah, man. Thanks for taking the time out to chat with me. I'll let you go. Have a good day and a great tour. Great rest of the year. Thanks, man.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
All right, later. So that was my interview with Chad Gilbert of Newfound Glory. And now, like always, I'm joined with my co-host, hip-hop artist, MMA and pro wrestling connoisseur, and proud Marine, Vstylez. How you doing?
Oh
sir. What's going on, Kelly? You good, man?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Like I was saying, my lower back kind of hurts these days. I'm going to physical therapy soon. My physical therapist was able to get my shoulder and my neck right previously, so I'm optimistic that I'll be able to get my back right within the next couple months. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Okay.
But besides that, I'm pretty good. Dude, to start things off, man, we got some really sad news in the world of hip-hop. Prodigy of Mobb Deep passed away at the age of 42, man. Like, this one hurts, man. Like, we've had a lot of legends.
Agree.
Man, we've had a lot of legends die, man, the past year or two, but, yo, this is somebody we grew up on, man, listening to, man, and shit, yo.
Though, I can remember, man, I have so many memories of, man, Mobb Deep, man. I can remember when the Infamous dropped, and you look for perfect albums.
Right.
That just might be a perfect album. It's just, if you're an Illmatic fan, it's just as cohesive as Illmatic.
Right.
And it still tests, it stands the test of time, man. It's a great record, man. My record off that album, off the Infamous album, is Drink Away the Pain.
Right.
That used to literally be my theme record, man. Back. Mobb Deep probably got to be the group that introduced me to Hennessy.
I think, right. I think, there's this thing that somebody posted about that Prodigy wrote this whole thing about all the firsts that he did, and one of them was like he was the first rapper to really rap about a bunch of liquors like Hennessy, 151, E&J, and shit like that.
That shit is real.
That shit is real, dog. When you think about Hennessy, man, he's one of the first people that pop in your mind, man.
I wasn't fucking with Hennessy like that until Mobb Deep, was talking about Henny. I mean, literally, that shit is, I can admit that shit, man. They have, when you're talking about projects that are consistent, we always say EPMD was super consistent as a group. Mobb Deep, very, very consistent as far as the music that they put out.
Right.
Their whole sound, Prodigy is, if we put Andre 3000 in that GOAT list and he's in a group,
yeah,
then we should talk the same way about Prodigy, man, because Prodigy had bars, man. I mean, dude really spit.
Right.
And it's sad that we don't acknowledge that until, something like this happens today. We talk about this tragedy, man, but
he could spit, man.
I got a lot of memories, man. When I used to be in the group Anomaly, man, we had a joint called Bring It, and DJ TJ used to be my DJ in the group.
Right.
Well, he's part of the group, but he's a DJ. He used to always, after the first verse of our regular record, I will always come in with the Shook Ones beat, man, because I think that's the record that, most people, when you talk about Mobb Deep, you think about that, and then for Detroiters, you think about the 8 Mile movie and stuff like that, man. But me and you, we're heads, man. So
right.
We was way ahead. We was way ahead of that. Like, as that was occurring, we was a part of that. So I used that during my show. and I used it for a long time. I mean, I really love them dudes' music, man. It definitely was a part of my life. And for me, my last moment with as far as seeing Mobb Deep at a show, I didn't get a chance to go see my boy Gov open up for him at Drew's a month or so ago. But at the Art of Rap concert last year at Freedom Hill, I got a chance to not only see them, but I took my son and daughter with me because they were fans, man. So you're talking about two generations of you know, me and my seeds, you know, and they're fans of, you know, my kids are like me. You know, I didn't ask them to be a little different musically, man, but, you know, they like the type of shit that I grew up on, man, and they definitely knew Mobb Deep's music. So for me to see them, the last time I seen them, you know, as far as with my kids, you know, I always remember that, man. But this is a horrible. I mean, we've had some bad losses, man, but this one definitely hurts.
Right, man. And to anybody who like doesn't acknowledge Prodigy as one of like the great MCs of our era, of our time, like no one realizes how many times his words have been sampled for songs. How people will just
man, look. Go listen to Who Shot You. Go listen to the record that he had on the Pete Rock album, The Soul Survivor. Like, he got records, man. He got some of the most inspiring verses. Like, you learn language. He's the first dude I ever heard say done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you didn't learn from these, I remember one time, my DJ, my old DJ, Mark the Spark, he had a show called Spark After Dark. Yeah. And this is around the time Mobb Deep had signed with 50.
Yeah.
And they were here in Detroit for a promo, and Mark called me. He was like, "V, come up to the station, man. I got Mobb Deep up here. We about to do an interview." So, you know, I always had access to shit like that, man. So I went up there. I was like, dope.
Yeah.
I get a chance to meet Mobb Deep and shit. Now, I met him several times since then, but this was the first time. And I get up there and I'm looking at these dudes. I'm like, they're some small dudes. Like, they had a lot of jewels on. I mean, they was definitely shining, man. But you know, they went to a commercial, and I had walked in the studio, and Mark was like, "This is my man Vstylez, la la la." Yeah, I was like, "Hey, I'm a fan, la la la." And they stood up, they gave me a hug, and both of them gave me a hug, and it was literally damn near the same size. So I'm like, damn, that's why y'all talk about guns a lot, man. Y'all some small niggas. And when I said it, it just was a natural. You know, I said what I felt at the time, but I didn't mean no disrespect by it. And we all just laughed, man. You know, we laughed. I mean, there was good sports about it. They easily could have been mad, but then I'd have been looking like I was a little bit too small to be getting mad up in here. But, you know, it just was a funny moment, man. But, yeah, man, they, like you said, but Prodigy is just super sad, man. I hope. Let's have some prayers for his family, and definitely put prayer out there for Havoc, man, because that's his longtime partner, man, and they needed each other. So, you know, crazy, super crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like Prodigy, him and Havoc, man, they just sort of like, they took this sort of creative license with language and with everything and made it their own. And it caught on and is so influential to so much, you know, so many rappers after them. And like an album like The Infamous is like the perfect album. There's nothing wasted on that record. Even the interludes are very poignant. And sometimes, you know, sometimes there's stuff that you can't rap about. You just got to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what those interludes, did. They talked about some things, And what I love about that album, in comparison to most hip hop albums, is that Prodigy, with his words, he was able to, paint these vivid pictures about so much, but there's no glorification of anything on that album. Like when you're listening to that album, you're like, damn, there's a lot of fucked up shit going on. There's nothing about it that's cool, And they didn't make anything for that album to be a quote unquote single, a hit single.
Yep.
Even though Shook Ones and Survival of the Fittest ended up becoming popular singles, but they didn't make them to be singles.
And that's how you're supposed to make fucking records. You're never intentionally supposed to say, hey, at least in my opinion, you never. I think artists fuck up when they say, hey man, I need a single.
Right.
Your music should just come out organically, and you should be able to choose something to run with.
Right.
Not saying, hey, I need a single, and then you force something, and then it just bombs, man. Because I will say this: there are a few times Mobb Deep tried to force some stuff on us, and we would be like, man, that ain't what y'all do.
Right.
And you could tell that that's what the record company was trying to do to them.
Yeah.
But they would always rebound and give us the stuff that we wanted. So,
right.
Because there was a couple times I was like, why are you making, this ain't y'all. Look, initially I almost got mad when they sampled that
oh, the Blinded Me with Science?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost got mad at that for a minute, but then I had to listen to the record. I was like, okay, this shit dope.
that shit was dope.
That shit was dope. Because when you hear certain samples, like, as a fan of music, certain records, and it's like, where are we going with this? And then you had the lyrics like, oh, yeah, that shit was dope, man. But they weren't a hit or miss group, man. They were on most of the time. Every now and then, some records you don't like, but every artist got records that you don't like, man.
Right.
But that Infamous album is, whew,
and
I can remember.
And the crazy thing about the Infamous is they were 19 when they made that. Like, 19 years old, making that album.
People don't even remember Hit It From the Back.
Right.
Right. Look. Right. I can remember when Hell on Earth came out. Shoes hit me up. He would hit me up and be like, V, I know you got the Hell on Earth. I'm be like, dog. No, I'm just saying, you need to get that Hell on Earth. V, get that. So I went over his crib, and he would play that shit on vinyl. We just listened to that shit for hours.
Right, man.
Great album, man. Great fucking album, man. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we still got the music, man. It's just, whew. Yeah, this is bad for hip-hop right here.
Yeah, man. This one is like shit. Yeah, 'cause you just look back and you're like, yo, they were so young when they were doing this shit. And right now, he passed away at 42, man. And you're like, wow, he did a lot in his life, man.
Yeah.
He put out a lot of music in his life that's like relevant and means something to people, man. That's crazy how much he's put out.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right on that. He got classes, man. Keep it thorough. Oh my God.
Dude. That's one.
That's just so hard.
Especially the line when he talks about throwing a TV at you.
Oh my God. Yeah, P. Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of so-called Mobb Deep fans now on social media, and they probably only song they probably know is Shook Ones.
Right, there is there's a few people who like
trying to fit in. That ain't who you are.
There's a few people fit in. There's a few people that were like, that I think are legit, fans and stuff. But I do, you know, it was good to see like an outpouring from so many people and seeing that there is, you know,
That shit made me smile.
yeah, like people like Mobb Deep did reach a lot of people, man, and like that's really cool to see, man.
Hey, look, you know what I was listening to a couple hours ago? And with all this new recent Tupac stuff going on with the movie and John Singleton talking about, you know, he wanted to do a rape scene and Funkmaster Flex saying, you know, you got robbed of your shit and you tried to save face and da-da-da-da. Well,
Yeah.
if you listen to Drop a Gem, they address a lot of that shit that you hear people talking about him today.
Right.
About him. Think about it. When all that stuff was going on, and I had to even bring up rape and stuff, but when all that stuff was going on, we didn't really have the internet, and they controlled certain things easier as far as whoever your PR person was. Like, labels had a little bit more control where they can do damage control without it reaching.
Right.
If you listen to Drop a Gem on them, I'm telling you, Prodigy say something about 60,000 worth of Jews, you tried to save face, you know what, New York got you, and that's the same type of stuff that Flex was saying a couple of weeks ago. And then if you listen to Havoc verse, it doesn't say much about rape, but I never knew who they was talking about at the time.
Right.
I knew Prodigy's verse was about it, but I didn't realize that Havoc was throwing a little bars at him too. And I was like, wow, is that all the shit today? Because I remember they released that record after he got killed. People was mad about them releasing the record because he had just died.
Right.
And I like the fact that they did because they were like, fuck that. You know, he said something about us, you know, dead or not, we going to drop that record.
Right.
No record too.
Right, man.
Now, most people at the time, you know, Pac got riders, so you really didn't think about that. I mean, I thought about it because I'm a Mobb Deep person, man, but revisiting them lyrics today is kind of eerie. Just listen to them lyrics today and think about all the stuff that, you know, with the Tupac movie, and then John Singleton taking fire because he wanted to put a rape scene in there, and then Tupac, then Funkmaster Flex talking about he got robbed by some New Yorkers that he trusted, and he was trying to save face and blame it on Big. They say that shit.
Right.
If you listen, the whole record is about what's going on currently as far as rumors are speculating, and that shit is a long time ago. So that's pretty amazing, man. Them dudes, yeah, man. Let's pray for Havoc, bro. Let's make sure that, you know, because I know they got to be eating him like strong right now. That was his right hand.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like, they did so much together, man, and all this music that's timeless, man. So, yeah, man, you know, positive energy.
Dude had an autobiography, and he had a prison cookbook.
Right.
They got banned in LA in California prison. That's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, man. Like there's a lot of stuff that Prodigy did that, you know, people didn't even really realize, man. Like those guys, like him and Havoc, they like went to like art school and stuff just to get better at their art, you know, their music and stuff, you know, shit like that, you know. There's more than meets the eye with those guys.
Oh, indeed, I totally agree.
Yeah. So definitely a sad loss for hip hop, and this is a sad loss in general, man. You know, hopefully people revisit, man, and you know, give him his proper placement, man, because I think he's one of the he's one of the dopest MCs of all time. You know, if you sit back and think about it. definitely.
Style, lingo. Like I said, I didn't start drinking Hennessy until I started listening. That's big right there, because drink Hennessy to this day. And that's Mobb Deep all day. I would tell him, when you started drinking Hennessy? Oh, man, around the time the Infamous came out. Can't even front on that shit.
Right.
To this day, that's my drink. And for a long time, I think I listened to Drink Away the Pain. That's my theme song, man. We're talking about Mobb. Like, most people think Shook Ones, and everybody got that Mobb record that they like. My shit was Drink Away the Pain. I go, Jules, you play that shit in Jules, and Q-Tip will come. Oh, my God. Let me quit.
Oh, yeah. So, man, just positive thoughts going out to the friends and family of Prodigy and Mobb Deep, out to Havoc, his partner, man. So this is his music will live on, definitely. Moving topics to the world of MMA. Looks like our homegirl Cyborg is going to finally get her title shot. They stripped Jermaine Durandamy of the women's featherweight title in the UFC because look, she didn't want to fight Cyborg, so they're like, bye. So at UFC 214 in Anaheim on July 29th, Chris Cyborg is going to go against Megan Anderson. So
I agree with this decision wholeheartedly. There's no way in the world that the 145-pound division was created for our sweetheart of a friend, Chris Cyborg. We all know that everybody knows that the 145-pound division was created for her. And if you don't want to fight her, then, you got to give that hardware up. And what I understand, she plans on moving down to 135 because she don't want those problems in her life. So,
none of those problems.
I understand that. People want, she wants to use the excuse of we know the performance enhancers, blah 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 blah. That garbage that people want to talk. But what I sense is a simple fear factor. And it's okay. Hey, you can say that you were the inaugural 145 champion. Your name will be your shit will be a Jeopardy question.
Yeah.
A lot of people will get that wrong. They'll say Cyborg first, but no, you beat Holm. So, hey, here's to you. And you had a loser streak going. Both of you guys had loser streaks going into a title fight. So just be happy that who knows, your name might be etched inside the belt as the first champion. But hey, we know that you held that belt. Go down to 135. Division. See if you can repeat what you did at the 145. Sad that you were scared, but I'm super ecstatic for Chris Cyborg. This is long overdue. And at UFC 214, there will be, she's already champion in our eyes. She'll just finally get the hardware that match.
To solidify
what we've been saying for a long time now. So I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Not surprised, motherfuckers. Speaking about women's MMA, this past week, Holm got back into the win column by nearly kicking the head off of Bethe.
Yeah. What was dope though was when she kicked her. And like from a different angle, you could see her kick her in the head.
Yeah.
And when she kick her in the head, you see her booty like jiggling, and the head kick is going to effect. And yeah, it looked nice.
But did you notice the punch that Holly threw after she was down? That was vicious too.
Oh, I love that. That was like an uppercut while she was on the ground. That was beautiful.
That shit was crazy. I'm like,
That was,
yeah, man. Like, if you notice, right after she's down, man, while she's going down, once she just hits the floor, she hits her with that like sort of uppercut and just like totally finishes her, man. That was like a Mortal Kombat finish.
Hey, finish her, and she did. The referee was about to stop the fight anyway, but yeah, that's that. I like to call that the double R, the double R K, the Ronda Rousey kick.
Right. It was funny. After like the day after that fight, on the Twitter of Jackson Wink MMA, they had a picture of both of those finishes, the Ronda Rousey finish.
Who did it? It said who did it better?
Yeah, it said that, but whoever was on the whoever posted it also said both those women said bad things about Holly, and this is how it resulted.
Oh yeah, real shit.
both these women said bad things about Holly.
Yeah, real shit.
So yeah,
they did. And she kicked her right in the fucking head. Like what? she Shinsuke Nakamura their asses like Baga!
Kinyasha.
Yeah, right.
That was a dope finish. Glad to see Holly Holm is back into the win column. It was much needed for her. So hopefully she can keep it up. You know, she's definitely a fierce competitor, man. She went through a tough spell there, tough losing streak, but she didn't quit.
Yeah, I'm happy for her. You know, hopefully she can keep this going. Maybe she get another run at that 135 belt. Who knows? You know, but you know, it all starts somewhere. You know, so good to see her back on her. You know, one of the things I like about Holly, she even on her loser streak going on, she continued to fight.
Yeah.
Most people would pout and take some time away, and you know, nah, she wanted to get back on that bike to correct things. So you gotta it's hard not to like Holly Holm, man.
Right.
Only time I ain't like Holly Holm was she said she was broke for Trump.
Right.
Fuck my whole vibe up.
Right. Like really,
You know?
really.
I'm like, girl, you got a pretty booty too.
Really.
Oh man.
All right. This weekend is the big Bellator New York City Bellator 180 event at Madison Square Garden in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Their pay-per-view. Oh, this is an exciting card, man.
It's a super card, man.
Super
card.
card.
You know, not in a literal sense, but it's a super card as far as it being a great card. I got some predictions. I think Gallagher is going to lose to Machida.
Oh, you think so?
You know, that's the Machida family fights in a certain discipline.
Right.
I think it's too early in James Gallagher's career for him to be fighting somebody the level of a striker of any Machida.
Right.
If you fighting a Machida, trust me, you know that there's striking involved, and I think it's too early in his career to be, you know, that's a dangerous fight. Period. You know, people may not be familiar with the older brother, but the older brother is a Bellator fighter. His younger brother is former UFC light heavyweight champion, but he's a fucking Machida. You know what I'm saying? He does the same thing. Him and his brother are different, but they have the same basic mechanics.
Right.
And the older brother is, you know, I'm not gonna say he's a version of MMA, but you know, he's a late bloomer as far as you know, his brother. You know, he's the late bloomer, but it's a super dangerous match for Gallagher, and I think he's gonna lose.
I think they're trying to push this thing where they want to have James Gallagher and AJ McKee finally fight, but they might be pushing it too fast.
Yeah, I think AJ will get her right now. I still think both of them are very green, but I think right now, skill set wise, I would have to go with AJ. But if he loses this fight, then who knows, man? You know, he's gonna have to rebuild himself, man. I mean, ain't no shame losing to Machida, but
right.
When you're trying so hard and so obvious to be Conor McGregor Jr. I met the kid when I went over in Ireland. We took pictures with him, and you know, he was a cool dude. To be honest with you, but when I see, you know, like you can just tell, the mannerisms, the way he talks. He's a kid. When I say he's a kid, he's a kid. He could be my son easily, you know. But you're trying so hard to be Conor, you know, the chest tattoos and how you're talking, and you know, you got some of Conor's. Him and Conor shared some of the same coaches,
right?
You know, so. You know, it's just weird. You know, it's like he don't even know who he is as far as what he's trying to do. He has a decent ground game. I think his coach is Conor's jiu-jitsu coach. What is it, Banis?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they share some of the same coaches, but I just think he's green. And you know, while everybody's looking at Gallagher, you're forgetting that he's fighting Machida. So, you know, I don't care if this Machida is 3-4, 5-0. He's still a Machida. You know, I wouldn't. You know, them dudes, they cut from a different cloth. They not. You know, they warriors, man. So, you know, I don't know if the youngster ready for this, man. Because he's gonna be dealing with a man in there. You know, so we shall see. I'm taking Lorenz Larkin in a welterweight title fight. I've always liked Lorenz Larkin.
Right.
He's a guy. He's a hard guy not to like, and he deserves the title, man. And I hope he gets it. He's finally found his niche. I remember when he fought at light heavyweight. And he realized after he fought Mo that he wasn't strong enough. Then he went to middleweight. Wasn't necessarily comfortable there. Went to welterweight, and you see a whole new dude. You know, I've been watching this guy since early Strikeforce days. So you're talking about 2009. I've been watching Lorenz Larkin. 2010, somewhere around there. So. You know, I remember he was getting more shine than Daniel Cormier back then in Strikeforce.
Right.
You know, yeah, I'm just super happy for that kid, man. He deserves what's coming to him. I'm picking him to win. I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Bader pulled off that upset against you know, Phil. You know, Mr. Wonderful.
Phil Davis.
Yeah, Davis. I like Ryan Bader too, you know. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I think Ryan Bader beat Phil Davis before in UFC.
Let me see. I'm looking it up right now. Yes, he beat Phil Davis by split decision back in January of 2015.
Yeah, I remember that fight. Ryan Bader wanted that fight more. I think he wants this fight more. I think he wins the light heavyweight belt. Let's see who else on the card we got. We got Matt Mitrione against Fedor.
Yeah.
I like Meathead, and I like the Emperor, the Last Emperor.
Right.
That that fight can really go either way.
Right.
But if I had to pick, if I had to pick somebody right now, I'm gonna go with Matt Matrioni.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why. I met both them dudes. Matt Matrioni is a true heavyweight. Fedor is not. I mean, don't get me wrong. Fedor has been beaten oversized. He's always been a small heavyweight. He's always going into the matchup fighting a bigger dude most of the time. But
Yeah.
Meathead is a real heavyweight.
Right.
And I just think if they stay in the pocket, Meathead is going to catch him with either a left hook or a straight right. If Fedor catches Meathead, when I say Meathead, I mean Matt Matrioni. Well, if that's his nickname.
Right.
If Fedor can catch you with one of those crazy wild rights that he throw, and because it comes out of nowhere. When Fedor throw them bombs, they just come out of no fucking where. So it can really go either way, but I'm gonna go with Matt Matrioni on this. It'll be good. It'll be a good W for him.
Yeah.
And if Fedor win, then that might be a fight that we may get later on in the year, man.
Right.
Scott Coker has already said that his dream match in Bellator is King Mo versus Fedor. So
yeah.
Who knows? Who knows what could happen, man? I just want to see a good fight, and we're going to see a good fight because they both like to bang. Neither one of them is going to run.
Right. What about Michael Chandler versus Brett Primus?
I'm taking Michael Chandler, man. I'm going to tell you why I'm taking Michael Chandler, man. Michael Chandler treated me real nice when I was in San Jose. His wife made a nice comment on my shoes. She was like, awesome shoes. I said, do you know what these shoes are? She was like, what shoes are these? I was like, these are the Bruce Lee edition Kobe's. And she was like, sweet. And then I said, you mind taking a picture with me and Mike? Of me and Mike? She was like, yeah. Then I'll never forget these comments right here. She says, wait a minute, hold up. Stand back just a little bit more. I got to get your shoes in the picture. I said, yeah. Yeah, but no. She did say that, but
right.
He was super cool, man. He was super cool. I like Michael Chandler, man. Michael Chandler is a loyal employee.
Yes.
And he's had great times. He's had bad times. Now he's back at the top where he should be, man.
He's having a nice little run here. He's having a nice run here. After back in like 2013, 2014, having 3 straight losses, he's won 4 in a row. So, including his last one against Benson Henderson. So, he's having a good run right now.
I was impressed by that.
So yeah, he's having a good run. So he looks like he's in a good place. So, he might defend his lightweight title. So what do you think is going to happen between Chael Sonnen and Wanderlei Silva?
See, you know what? Let me tell you something, man. And I got to keep this shit 100.
100.
The reason I am a MMA fan today, the reason I fell in love back with this sport all over again, is because of Wanderlei Silva. I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now had I not seen a crazy madman doing crazy shit in Pride. That's what made me, get involved in the sport again, because the rules had changed and there are weight limits now, and it's all type of stuff that really made me a fan of this shit again, man. And and since discovering Wanderlei, I think I was a Wanderlei fan. I remember Wanderlei's first fight in the UFC when he lost to Vitor. Then he regrouped and went to Japan, and had to find his way. Now, I will say that over Japan, they weren't testing people over there back then and there. You come in juiced up or whatever, but that's still unproven. Well, but it's facts. He was doing shit that, I never forget him knocking out Sakuraba, and he's like a god over there.
Right.
I'll never forget him knocking out Rampage the first time and the second time. The second time was beautiful because that's when he kept kneeing him and he just went through the ropes and he was limp. I was like, what the fuck? Instantly a Vstylez fan. So every week, similar to Jake Roberts, I would watch to see what he would do next. Well, not every week, but every event he was in.
Right.
And with Chael, I rocks with Chael because what he did for my man. You know what I'm saying? That was some real shit.
Right.
So for this fight, I'm not gonna pick a winner. I just want to see, a good fight, and may the best man win, man. I like both of them dudes, man. I like both of them. So it's hard for me to really pick a winner. It's hard for me to pick a winner, man, because I rock with both of them, man. I like both of them dudes. But they don't like each other.
Right.
So,
right.
So that's the intrigue of it. But I rocks with Chael just like I rocks with, Vstylez. And I know that may sound crazy, but, like I said, I love MMA today because of Vstylez Silva. But Chael's son is a real motherfucker, man. I fucks with him. So, I just want to see a good fight, man. That's what I really want to see. I just want to see a good fight. And, whatever happens, happens.
Definitely. Yeah, it should be a pretty entertaining card this Saturday. Moving over to the UFC, did you hear that they've actually going to do a UFC fight night here in Detroit in December?
Well, remember I told you...
No, they're actually... No, it looks like it's actually going to be a pay-per-view. It's going to be UFC 219 at the Little Caesars Arena, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, and remember I mentioned something about Motown Phenom saying something? He flipped something out, said, so it's 219?
Yeah, 219, and he was talking about it this week on the MMA Hour also, because he's back on there, and he mentioned it again. But I'm looking online and on the Wikipedia, and it says per the, let's see here, the official UFC schedules that went out, UFC 219 looks to be at the Little Caesars Arena here in Detroit on December 2nd.
Oh yeah, we there. Me and Royce and Vicious had floor seats the last time they was here at the Palace. So yeah, I'm gonna let Royce know. We back on. We gonna do that again. As a matter of fact, you need to be involved in this, man. You need to, we need to make some magic happen, bro.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
That's dope. I can't wait. Hopefully he wins. Well, no, he'll probably be on that card regardless because it's in Detroit.
Right.
But I hope he wins on Sunday. I hope he wins on Sunday, the Motown Phenom. I definitely hope he wins. I have some questions for him.
Definitely, man. Yeah. I mean, with Kevin Lee, sometimes he looks like he's getting a little too ahead of himself, the way he's carrying himself. But then, like, sometimes he'll bring it back and be kind of real about some serious shit.
Yep.
So
yep. That's why I've been kind of like, you know, the fact he's from here automatically makes me want to cheer for him because,
yes,
you know, that old English deed, like, you don't want to go against nobody that ain't repping where you from.
Right.
But it's like what you said, man. Sometimes he say some shit and it's like, man, that ain't how we rock here. But then he'll pull it back and it's like, okay, well, you know, then you got to think about certain things, man. He's a young dude. And he's growing, man. I mean, you say what you want, man. You know, he's growing as a fighter. He's definitely improved since his very first fight. He's definitely a UFC veteran right now. I mean, dude is doing it, and he repping the D, man. So I would, you know, hopefully we can get an interview with him real soon. I like Kevin Lee, but you know, sometimes it'd be like, dude, why would you say that, man? That ain't. We don't get down like that, Kev. Come on, but who knows? Maybe that's him. You know, I just, like I said, I'll never not root for a dude that's from here.
Definitely, and I forget what organization it's in, but his one of his brothers made his pro debut
in Montreal. Yeah, I think he won too.
Yeah, he won his first pro debut fight like this past weekend. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's always good shit, man. Congratulations to him.
Definitely. Let's see here. Turning to the world of pro wrestling, what'd you think of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view?
I think that woman's Money in the Bank match was some bullshit.
But you know what? Even though it was, I feel like there's opportunity with that. That's I
don't like Carmella, man.
I understand that, but I kind of feel like there's opportunities there that maybe wouldn't have happened if they just did a straight up win with that. Because sometimes I feel like with wrestling, like everybody that talks about the stuff on the internet, writes about it, we're starting to get way too logical with pro wrestling when it needs to be absurd or push those boundaries. You almost like sometimes the best storylines are rooted in that, like, all right, what's going to piss people off the most? Where's that line that we can go to, like, get heat the most? And I feel like they effectively did that with that outcome. Like there was like real heat. And even tonight at the beginning of SmackDown, I watched it. There was like real heat. And
yeah, man, it pissed me off.
And Carmella, even and what I liked about tonight when I saw it, they had Carmella mention the Bray Wyatt and the Kane situation where they came down in previous Money in the Banks for the men previous years and butted their nose in somebody else's business, and it's just like,
but you know what's different?
What's that?
You know what's different though? This is a woman's match, and a dude went up and grabbed. A dude climbed the ladder. At least the other wrestlers on the male side had to climb up there to get the briefcase.
That part. Okay, I can see why people were mad, but it's when you have and maybe it would have been cooler if Carmella actually climbed up and got it herself. But I
could have accepted that.
But there's this level of heat that wouldn't have existed if it was just like that. I can kind of forgive it being that way, because there's this extra level of heat that for having Ellsworth do it instead that exists now because of it, and it's crazy. Like normally I would probably be against something like this, but I don't know. I kind of to me, I thought it worked, and I thought that Carmella's promo to start off SmackDown tonight was actually, she was dropping those facts, like dropping it just like the Miz would, like dropping those facts, like it's there's no rules against that. Bray Wyatt and Kane did it. You know what? Guess what? I don't care. While everybody was trying to paint this as like a legit sporting event sort of monumental moment, I was making different plans, and I'm like, oh, I love that. I thought that was great.
You know why I don't like Carmella?
Why is that?
Her moonwalk sucks.
Yo, that moonwalk is trash.
And every time I see her, the first person I think of is Enzo. Come on now. Tell me you don't think about them having some type of reunion.
Yo, it's possible, man. Like, shoot, it's possible. Speaking of which, man, that was a crazy like reveal. I mean, we all kind of knew it was gonna happen on Raw, where Big Cass, reveals that he's the one that has been attacking Enzo, but they kind of played that really well, man. I thought like even people that have become really annoyed by Enzo and Cass, the whole thing, the whole shtick, like it kind of hit everybody's heart, man, because you kind of saw Enzo's face like the whole time, like he played that off.
Enzo cracked. He shed a tear. He shed a tear, boy.
That shit was great, man. I'm like, oh shit, dude. Like
he shed a tear. One crocodile tear came out of his right eye.
People got emotional over that, man, and I'm like, dude, that was great, man. That was a great reveal of that whole story, man. I enjoyed it.
I don't see how Big Cass succeeds without him.
Right, but at the same time, man, like there needed to be some sort of reboot or refresh with these guys, man, because it was starting to get to the point where I think a lot of people, even me, were getting sick of Enzo, and I have no problem with Big Cass, but I was just getting sick of Enzo, and I'm like, and he's still an extension of Enzo, and it's just like there needed to be some sort of change in that dynamic.
Okay.
So
Do you know how bad these promos are going to be for these next couple of months dealing with Big Cass?
Well, we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see.
Hey, yo, Adrian.
All right.
That's what he sounds like. He sounds like fucking Adrian.
Oh, but okay. I was happy about this though, man. Braun Strowman came back, and did you see the way he came back?
Oh, that was amazing. That was great.
Did you see Roman Reigns' face, man? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, when that door opened, he was like, "I'm not finished with you." Like that's fantastic.
And then our boy Samoa Joe, man, was dropping them Jay-Z bars, man. He was like,
That's my guy.
He's like, allow me to reintroduce myself.
Look. Right. He did say that.
Yes.
Hell no.
And he tweeted about it too. He did a screenshot of the Black Album in a public service announcement and posted on his Twitter.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man.
I was like, oh, Jay-Z bars. All right. Yeah. All right. Man.
Yeah, I fucks with Joe, man. Joe's all right, man. I really hope that him and Brock's feud can, go further than what we gonna get at this Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view, man. Samoa Joe is a wrestling fan's wrestler.
Right.
You want to see Joe is the dude that he doesn't have the prototype body. He doesn't have all the shit that you normally see from these super looking fucking athletes. But what he does have, he has that it. He has that, like, name a dude that size that's gonna be able to do a Pele kick.
Right, man.
You're not going. you're not gonna see dudes like that as Limber. You know, like he performs on such a high level, man. That's why I like it, and everything be raw, and it'd be aggression, and it'd be like I'm gonna kill you right now. I love that, man. Love that.
Yeah.
Joe come out, I get geek. I be like, Joe, you know, Joe. Yeah.
Nah, man, it's always great to see like everything, this progression of Samoa Joe, and I hopefully it just continues, man. And like I want him to be a champ, you know. I want him to be a champion.
Yeah, I want to see him get a belt, man. NXT belt's cool, but I want to see him with the world belt. I want to see what could happen with Samoa Joe as the aggressive champion.
Man, that's some TV that I would definitely watch, man.
Oh, indeed. Fucking indeed.
Love it. All right, man, that's about it for this week's podcast. Vstylez, tell them where you can find you online.
Well, you know, you can reach your man Vstylez at the /VSTYLEZ on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And my official Facebook page, you can hit me up at the facebook.com/official Vstylez. And you also can check out, if you have Pandora or Spotify, look for my Pandora station. It's called Vstylez Radio.
Ooh.
That's out there. You also can look me up on Spotify. You know, I got some music out there, man. So, hey, we gonna keep this classic hip hop going, because I got some shit coming for y'all real soon, and we gonna be talking about it, you know, in the upcoming weeks or upcoming episodes and some of the things that I have, man. I'm real proud, man. But yeah, stay tuned, man. Stay tuned.
Awesome. Good to hear, man. Thanks for listening. See you next week.
Peace.
Fresh is the word.